Hello, my name is Bones and welcome to another project. This is a different project from the one I was working on because I abandoned that one because I believed it was too complex for me to be able to finish on my own in a in a reasonable amount of time. So I decided to start a new project and I have my mind set on finishing this one. So I named this one The Invasion, but I'm not sure if that name is going to remain the same. So what is this? This is going to be a 2D platformer shooter. So basically you're just gonna go around killing enemies. So how this works? Well, first of all, we have a character. He can move, he can jump, he can double jump. If you press space for a short time, he can jump for a very small height, and if you hold space, you can jump higher. A lot of the stuff related to movement are um, are from tutorials from Blackthorn Prod. You can go and check him out. He's a very good teacher. So the player is basically able to move, double jump, all of that. Then this script right here, it's named level restart. It's a pretty basic thing. Basically it checks if you input the R key, and if you do, it just resets the current scene. It's very basic. Next on the player we have inst on press q. That means instantiate on press q. It's a script that I've made, and it's basically as you can see, like in most of Blackthorn Prod's tutorials, it has a start time between shots. This is not part of his tutorials, but it's just that little variable that's, he always names it this way, so it just stuck with me. This just checks if you have pressed Q, and if you do, it instantiates an object to instantiates variable, which is of type GameObject. You set it in an inspector, and in the inspector I have it set as grenade. This is the grenade prefab, and you can shoot it once every 2 seconds. This just basically creates an explosion and grabs the colliders in a nearby radius of everything, checks if they have a rigid body. If they do have a rigid body, then it checks if that object has an enemy tag, and if they do, it grabs their health script and deals some damage. In fact, it deals 30 damage. Next we have the player health script, and this is set as default health for the player to 100, and basically if the player's health decreases, then this health bar you can see over here, as you can see in this canvas, it's going to decrease, and this text object is going to display the health as well. So the player can also shoot, and let me find a prefab for the projectile. So this is a projectile. None of the artwork is final, and it just moves with transform that translates at a given speed. The actual detection of the collision is on the enemy. If I remember correctly, I made it so that the enemy has an on trigger enter 2D, and if it detects that the player projectile game object has collided with it, well, not has collided, but has triggered its trigger collider, then it's going to decrease the health of the enemy by the amount of damage that the projectile has, then destroy the projectile. So then I have sounds for all of these. Basically let's see here in the prefabs. We've got an enemy grunt. It's a basic sprite that I've made, and it has a script for shooting. The enemy is going to grab the position of the player, is going to start shooting at them. Actually, that happens in the projectile, not in the enemy itself. The enemy itself just handles um, the instantiating of the projectile. Also, when the enemies are not visible to the player, they are disabled. They only become visible when the player um, has the camera on the enemies. So basically, you cannot be shot by enemies, and they will not start chasing you unless you start to see them. Besides the projectile, as I was saying, the enemy also instantiates an audio object, game object type, and this one is entitled laser ship audio object. And this is basically just an empty game object with an audio source, and it has the sounds of the of the of the bullet being shot. And what's gonna happen when I hit play, the terrain generator, there are two of them actually, they're going to start placing platforms randomly in a ladder type of pattern, and the player's purpose is basically to climb up this ladder. So I'm going to hit play, and the ladder is going to start being instantiated, and as you can see, the enemy starts shooting at me, and I can shoot them back. My favorite enemy is the rocket ship. As you can see, they shoot rockets which are guided towards the player. They also have a sound for when they explode and when they launch. However, you cannot hear that because it's probably not recorded on a mic. So they're gonna kill me, and when they do that, it's going to reset. But I can just, shoot them a few times. Well, if I can. The best way to play this game is, and that's what I'm trying to go for, is mobility. You wanna be fast. If you just stand still, you're going to die. You can see that I threw a grenade, and it's just going to explode, and the grenade deals 30 damage, and the small enemies have 10 health, and the larger ones, the rocket ships, have 30 health. So basically it's able to kill them all in one hit. So if I could show you, there you go. See, the grenade is able to kill multiple enemies at a time. Also, something that I missed, the enemies have something along the lines of 11.6% chance to dropping a health pack, and when the health pack gets dropped, it automatically grabs a reference to the player's position, and it starts moving towards the enemy. And when the player starts moving towards the player, and when it hits the player, it gives the player health. I'm not doing a very good job right now because I'm focusing on talking. I'm gonna try to increase the volume of the actual game. Maybe you can catch it on the microphone. The next thing that I want to work on is some music, because the game is fun, but if I play it while I'm listening to some nice music, then it always seems more enjoyable, so I'm going to obviously add some music. So that's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.